Welcome to the Fashionista Life podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Johnson. And if you found yourself here, it means that you may be looking for courage, clarity, and confidence in some part of your life. Or maybe you just want to be entertained, and that is great as well, my friends. Let's go ahead and get started. Today, we welcome into the studio Stephanie Jonas from Maverick Boutique. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi.
I have known you for quite some time, like
Yeah.
12 years.
Yeah.
A
I
long
feel like
time.
I like coined the phrase that I was like the first girl that walked into your store 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
And you have been on a crazy ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was just so wonderful to get you in studio and just talk about everything that you've done and what has brought you to where you are in your life right now. And most importantly, what your belief is 5 ingredients that make up a girl boss. Because when I think of girl boss, I think of you.
Aw. Well, I think of you.
Oh, well, no, I think of you. We could do this all day long. But so let's talk about the first 3. But before we do that, let's talk and let our audience know kind of your background, what you've done and what has brought you to where you are today.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I feel like this is such an honor. So my story, I just feel like is a crazy, weird little story that once you believe in yourself and you just continue every day towards that dream, I feel like you look around and you go, oh, that's why I've done all this. I'm finally at a spot where it all makes sense. All the weird things that I've done and all the crazy, risks I've taken, it all makes sense now. So my background, I originally am from Rhode Island, moved down here on a whim after breaking up with my boyfriend and needed a place to stay. Called my parents and said, hey, can I come winter down in Marco? And they said, sure, moved down here. And I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I feel like I was called to be here for a reason. Started bartending, had the time of my life, realized, okay, time to be a big girl, decided to become a realtor. Absolutely loved that. I did that for 4 years.
I never knew that about you.
Yeah. Actually, when we first met, I think I was a realtor.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just remember when I met you, I'm thinking Jonas, the Jonas Brothers.
I know. And my husband's one of 4. So I'm always like, he really is the Jonas Brothers. We're just not as rich yet. So became a realtor, ended up getting married and having 2 boys back to back. And it just became really hard with creating a schedule and being home with the kids. So I decided to step back from that. And I decided this was when Instagram kind of like came on the scene, and it was like this weird, like unique world where people started selling on Instagram, and it was kind of taboo, but kind of cool at the same time. So I was like, you know what? I want to create something for like my kids. I want to show the world that I'm a mom, but I can also work at the same time. So I had this crazy idea to start screen printing t-shirts in my garage, which my husband was like, why? Why are we quitting real estate to do this? And I was like, no, I see this vision and I'm going to start an Etsy shop. So that's what I did. I started an Etsy shop and I started an Instagram account, and it grew so fast. I had 30,000 followers basically like overnight. Oh yeah. Those were the good old days of Instagram,
right, yes,
where like you posted a picture and it like went viral instantly. Had an Etsy shop, and I screen printed for 2 years in my garage and ended up selling my business. We had sales of over almost $500,000, not 5 million. And it was great. It was a great first dive into social media and a great first dive into, hey, I can be a mom and work and do all these things. And that's what we did. And then I sold the business, and then I decided to start LuLaRoe, which I know a lot of you probably know LuLaRoe. You probably get a lot of it at your store.
We used to. We don't anymore.
And honestly, I joined them at the time that they were just taking off. It was my first dive into MLMs. I had never done anything like that. I didn't even really knew what it entailed.
For our audience, MLMs are
multi-level marketing companies. So basically it's you signing up with a company, you being able to sell their products, you can earn money from sales, and then you can also build teams and earn money and residual income from building teams. I had no interest in building the teams, honestly. I was like, I can sell. I have a social media following. Let's just sell. And that's what I did. And after 10 days of the business, and I had all these people wanting to buy my clothes and come shop at my house, I also had all these people that wanted to sign up and sell clothing under me. So I was like, okay, I guess we're going to do this. So that was truly my first experience with building teams, and I fell in love with it. I actually fell more in love with that aspect than selling the clothes. I just loved being able to help people and teach people and show them how I do what I do and how you can be a mom and work and make money and do all the things.
But I laugh how you said I had no interest.
Zero.
In building any kind of a team.
Zero. I mean, I didn't want to be that girl, that's like out there, like join my team, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, I'll sell clothes. And I think the difference with me doing it was it was natural. I loved what I did. People saw that. They saw my passion through Facebook Lives. They saw my passion through my Instagram stories. And they were like, well, if she can do this, why can't I do this? And that's kind of how it happened. So I did that for 2 years, had a great run with it. We're noticing a pattern of 2 years, right? Yeah, it's 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. So I did that, loved it, and then decided, hey, why don't I create my own MLM? Take the aspects of LuLaRoe that I loved, some of the parts that I didn't love, and I can make my own and make it better. And that's what we did. And I launched Maverick the collection in 2019. We launched with 17 stylists, and we grew to have over 400 girls across the US. Yep.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
But you know what? I look at your trajectory here and yes, maybe it was every 2 years, but each 2 years you bettered yourself.
Right.
Another step up, another step up.
Right. And I think that's one of the keys of being, this boss in the world that we're in. It's that I hate to say the phrase, but if you're not growing, you're kind of dying. And I think that is so key, especially right now with social media growth and how everything changes so quickly and everyone's focus changes so quickly. You kind of have to stay on top of it. And when something's not working, if you need to evolve, that's what you have to do.
Right.
So yeah.
Is that your number one?
Actually, no,
because we're talking about Stephanie's 5 ingredients of a girl boss. But I want to talk about what you just said. If you're not growing, I always say, my biggest saying is, if you're not evolving with the times, you're done. The minute that you think that you have arrived, you are done, because that means, oh, I've arrived. I can rest on my laurels and do nothing.
Right.
Not true.
No.
If you do that, you're done.
Right. And maybe there was a little bit more leniency, I don't know, 20 years ago.
There probably was.
That doesn't exist anymore. No. Everything's so fast paced. I mean, I watch my kids when they're watching YouTube shorts on their iPads.
Gosh, yes.
I mean, we used to say you had a 13-second span. I mean, I'm talking milliseconds. My kids are like, nope, that doesn't engage me. So I just think it's kind of how it is now. We just have to constantly be on top of changes and trends and evolving.
Right, we do.
Yeah.
So what's your number one?
So number one, and it will always be my number one, is consistency.
Okay.
With my space that I have right now, most of my stylists are truly just online. And I always preach to them that if you had a brick and mortar and you just decided to only be open on Tuesdays from 1 to 3, do you think that you would have customers? No. And it's just like that on the online space. If you're online or brick and mortar or whatever you are, whatever, business that you are a part of, if the consistency is not there, no one's going to take you seriously. It's just, it's part of, you have to be so, and it should actually be consistency / discipline, because if you are not disciplined with yourself, no one else is ever going to think of you when they think of your a business or something that they need.
Totally agree with this, because consistency also builds that know, like, and trust factor. Because, okay, I know that if I go to that store, they're going to be open in the hours that they say that they're going to be open. It doesn't matter what day of the week. I know.
Right.
If that's what their hours are, they're going to be there. And it also, like you said, spills over to online. For example, the postings that you do on Facebook or Instagram, or, for example, this very podcast. If I say it's going to be on twice a week on these days, then it better.
Right.
Because if not, I can't trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do.
Right.
So I think that is definitely very apropos to be number one.
Yeah. And I think it really separates who will stay in business and evolve, or who's just going to die off when it's a hard month or whatever that problem is in their life. Being disciplined and consistent is always the key to success.
I agree. I agree. Number 2.
So this may just be a little biased because I just feel like I've dealt with a lot of criticism over the years just because I decided to not use my college degree and go and do, bartending and screen printing and do all these crazy things that no one really thought was the path that I should go on. And I've always been one to kind of rattle, I'm not just going to go with the grain. I just have to go against it. It's just in my blood. But number 2,
you rebel.
I am. Number 2 is thick skin.
Okay.
And I think for women in general, and I hate that it has to be this way, but it is. It's just, you have to be so strong in your conviction of who you are and your confidence. And you can't let outside criticism, people that don't want you to do what you're doing, people that want to judge you because they're jealous of you, people, people that don't want to be a part of what you're doing. They don't see your vision. If it's a bad month, whatever it is, you just have to be so strong and not let the little things affect you. And you have to look at the big picture instead of these little things that come to you on a daily basis.
Totally agree. I mean, we all have had our haters. The hater's going to hate. Right? I'm not going to break out into song, I promise. But there's always going to be haters out there. And a lot of times you're right. It does tie back to jealousy. And that's hard to deal with no matter what. But you do have to have thick skin.
Right.
Or every little thing that happens is going to get you down. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm done. I can't do it any further.
And taking the high road has been a really hard journey for me because I'm just Portuguese and crazy. And I just kind of want to, tell them how I really feel sometimes. Right. And I've realized that over time, my peace is worth more than going after this negative energy. So letting the things go too, and having that just like barrier of no, I'm so uber focused on what I'm here to do. And all this negativity is not going to affect my vision.
Right. Kind of like, if you have a competitor that comes in, right? And if you focus your energy on what they're doing, you're not going to go anywhere but down.
Right.
So stay in your lane and focus on what's ahead. Focus on you. Focus on your business in your lane. And you'll do great.
I always say blinders on. And ignorance is bliss. I don't care what you're doing. I care what I'm doing.
Exactly.
And I will forever feel that.
And that will serve you very, very well, for sure. What's number 3?
So I feel like we kind of already touched on this, but unwavering confidence. I mean, it kind of goes into everything that we just said, but if you do not believe in yourself, your company, your product, whatever it is, it will come through in some way or another. You're not going to fool anyone. If you truly don't believe in yourself at the end of the day, there will be cracks. People will see, maybe she's not really, but standing behind what she says or what she preaches all the time. I just think having that undying confidence in who you are, your vision, your company, and your product will also just set you apart from people that are just there.
So you said something interesting, cracks in the story or whatever. How much do you feel that authenticity is part of that? Like, I have to show up fully authentic or you're going to see through me. If I look like I always have my proverbial shit together, how do you perceive that? How do you see how authenticity fits into being a girl boss?
So when I said cracks, I mean cracks like not vulnerability, not like, hey, she's having a bad day and she's getting on here. I mean, if you guys follow me on Instagram, which you should, Instagram, Maverick _thecollection.com. I am like an open book. I mean, if I'm having a bad day, if my kids were having a rough day at school, if, my husband and I are going through it and we've talked about therapy and, I talk about it all. And I think that is it's on here.
Is it on your list? No. Okay. I spoiled it. I can't read your list
you're
from
fine.
here, but
you're fine.
Sorry.
Being true and showing the world who you are and giving the bad days and not just making it look like this perfect world that you live in will be the reason people follow you. I can't, and I'm not giving myself like a shout out, but I can't tell you how many times people come into my store and they say, oh my God, Stephanie, I've been following you for years. I'm so happy you opened this brick and mortar. I love your story. How are your kids? How's your dog? Like, they know my life. And I feel like if there was another boutique right next to me and that person shared nothing about their life, they're 100% going to choose to shop with me because they feel a connection.
That's your differentiator right there. Is you.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
And I feel the same for your brand. You are True Fashionistas. You know, it's not True Fashionistas, it's Jen. You know,
Right.
like I feel like people just associate who you are with your business, and that I mean that speaks volumes. So
is your closet overflowing? Or maybe your kids?
I've taken over the guest room. Like not even just the guest room closet. The whole guest room is just my clothes.
That's funny.
And then I have an 1,800 square foot warehouse.
Is your closet overflowing?
So much. Completely overflowing.
Well, you know what I think you need to do is you need to bring in your unwanted clothes, the things that you don't wear anymore, to True Fashionistas, because what we do is we process everything and we're able to sell the clothing for you. So we make it very easy. All you have to do is sit back and collect your money. We make it that simple. If you're interested in what True Fashionistas can do for you, just reach out to them at truefashionistas.com or come into the store and check them out on Facebook or Instagram, and that's truefashionistas.com. All right, we are back with Stephanie Jonas, and she's from Maverick Boutique, and we're sitting here talking about the things that she believes, the top 5 things of being a girl boss. So we did 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 was consistency and discipline. 2 was thick skin, and 3 is unwavering confidence. And all of them are so extremely important. But now we're going to talk about 4 and 5.
Okay.
All right.
Number 4.
We're like,
here it is. So number 4 is probably something I think we all struggle with, especially moms in business, balance. And I'm going to write balance / schedule, because if we don't do that, you're setting yourself up for disaster. Obviously being a mom is a whole job in itself. Then you add, and this is the first time I feel like in any generation that the mom is working probably just as much as the dad. And hopefully in everyone's case, dad and mom are both doing the duties at home. But I mean, most of the time, let's be real, it falls on the mom. It just does, because we're control freaks and it's just who we are. And they were in our bodies. Like we just take control. So I truly feel like having balance and a schedule, you have to, or you're just going to not be able to do it all. And you're going to be burnt out and you're going to say, I can't do this. And something's going to have to give, and it's not going to be giving up being a mom. It's going to be giving up your business. So just creating a healthy balance and setting schedules of, okay, when I'm at home and I get the kids off the bus at 3:00, from 3 to 6, I'm not going to be on my phone. After dinner, after the kids go to bed, then maybe I can start working and doing emails again. But
do you have a trick for that? Because it's so hard.
I'm not speaking from experience.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm just saying. No, honestly, I do try to do that. And no, I have no tricks. I just am really conscious. And I think what I do a lot is I think about when I'm having a conversation with someone and they're on their phone and how it makes me feel. Makes me feel horrible, right?
Yeah.
When you're like sitting at a dinner table and someone's on their phone, you're like, am I not enough for you? Is this not, you want to be somewhere else? So I just feel, how do our kids feel? Our kids must feel that.
Right. Unless they're on their phone.
But honestly, we're very strict with iPad time and stuff during the week. So I feel like if I'm strict with them, then I need to be strict with myself, and it's only fair. So that's what I do.
And that is the hard. I know from my experience, I'm always the one that you're on your phone all the time. And my kids call me out on it. Not my son, but my daughter. She's like, you're always on your phone.
Right.
And I don't know why. It's like you just pick it up.
No, we're addicted. I mean, and I think we're just programmed to be like, oh, well, I have a couple minutes. Let me jump on my phone.
Right.
When in reality, that's not doing anyone good. No. It's not doing your business good for you to be scrambling. Oh, I have 10 minutes. Let me just, jump on real quick and do this. Having set work hours is really key. So I do think that has been a game changer for me mentally, to be like, hey, I'm just not answering emails until, 9:00 at night when I have a free minute.
Right. Or the store, don't call me after this time. Right. Unless the place is burning down.
Right.
Call the fire department.
Call them first, please, because there's nothing I'm going to be able to do.
I can't help you, right? And what is number 5?
Number 5, we kind of touched on it, but leading with vision, your vision, and creating trust in that vision. And the way to do that with your customers is to be vulnerable and open and share it all. And I'm not saying you need to get on and be like, yeah, my husband and I, blah, blah. It doesn't need to be that. It just needs to be, you need to feel like your followers and your customers are your friends, and you need to treat them that way. And they need to know, hey, this girl is not just like some girl that jumped on Instagram and thinks she's so cool and takes all these like fancy photos and thinks she's going to be a millionaire. She's actually a real person who's working her butt off and goes through all the same struggles that I go through. I want to support her. I don't want to support Amazon.
Right. Exactly. Because people buy from people, they don't buy from brands. Right. Yes, exactly. So I want to go back to vision. So a lot, and I actually have a course on this on my new business site, but it's about creating a vision board for your business. It's kind of the new business plan, if you will, is creating a vision board for your business. Is that what you mean? Like having a vision for where I want to be in 1 year, where I want to be in 5 years and in 10 years? Or is it something else?
So we used to call it your why.
Okay. Yes.
Back in the day. And it was actually the first time I heard this phrase was actually with the prior company, LuLaRoe, and they would make us write down your why. And, most people would just be like, oh, I want to be able to have an extra $400. And they'd be like, no. Your real why. Like, what is it? And then you sit there and you bring it out of you. Like, you don't even know where it's coming from. And you're like, wait, God, that is so much deeper than just like the $400. For me, my vision is not just like, oh, hey, I want to create a life for my kids or whatever like that. It is so deep for me. I've had this burning passion inside of me since the day I was born. I feel like my voice just needs to be out there. I don't know why. I just feel like I have stuff I want to say, and I want to help people, and I want to encourage people, and I want to show them how amazing they are. And I just want to like shake them and be like, you can do this. Stop hiding. Stop thinking you're not worthy enough and that you don't have the skills. None of us have the skills. Right. We just wake up every day and we try to do better than we did the day before. So for me, it's more of this deep down, not just your 1 year plan, your 4 year plan, your 10-year plan. It's truly what wakes you up in the morning and why you feel like you should be continuing to do this.
It's passion.
Passion. And maybe I should change that, not vision. It's passion.
Because in everything that you're saying, I feel like I feel that for me too. So I can relate to what that feels like. You just feel like there's so much more that you can do and so much more that you can be for other people in service. Right. And that is exactly what gets you up in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just knowing that right there.
And it's not even about selling clothes for me. I love clothes. I mean, I've had a shopping addiction since I was literally 4 years old.
Who has it?
Oh my God. It's
4.
So
that was before me.
Oh, I was ridiculous. Like my mom has told me stories. Like I used to, I'm not even going to go into it.
That's another
it was
podcast.
Out of control. I've always just been obsessed with clothes.
Do we need a shopping therapist in for that podcast?
My dad always says, you basically just took one shopping addiction to another. Like you just opened up a clothing company where you just buy clothes.
But then it's not for you. It's for everyone else.
Right. It's fine. But even for the boutique aspect, it's not just about selling clothes. For me, it's the human interaction and people come in and go, tears, Stephanie, I don't know how to dress myself. Please, I've gained weight and I don't know what to do and I don't know how to dress myself anymore. And for me to sit there and style them for an hour and have them leave with, 10 outfits that they feel happy about, that's it for me. I don't care. I mean, I could basically give them away for free at that point. I don't care. I mean, I probably should say I'm not doing that. They're not free.
Disclaimer, they are not free. So head on over to Maverick Boutique. No, they're not free, everyone. They're not free. We're going to go into what I call the speed round. I'm going to ask you 3 questions and tell me what comes to mind.
Oh, God, this is scary.
It's like you're at a pageant and you're, top 10.
Oh, God.
Now you have to answer these questions. You just don't have to wear high heels.
Well, I've got high heels on, so.
Okay. Go. What is success to you?
So for me, truly success is freedom. I'm an Enneagram 8, and that's like my biggest word is freedom and creativity. For me, never to have to answer to someone or feel like I have to do something because I have no other choice. it's just freedom.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We kind of touched on this already, but how do you handle criticism?
A few years ago, I'd have a full on, I'd have to like get to the bottom of it. And why do you feel this way? And let me prove to you why this is wrong. And that's not the truth. Now, I just don't care anymore. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I had to just stop caring so much and have confidence that my people will gravitate towards me and the people that are not my people will just disappear. And I keep the blinders on.
I love it.
And so many of my friends say, sorry, I just cut you off. But so many of my friends are always like, but Stephanie, do you realize you've reached a level that people want to like take you down? Like, I know that's a horrible thing, but it's also like, there's not many people, that feel worthy that they can go after someone like that. So, I mean, whatever. I guess it's a compliment.
It is a compliment. And, that brings across a thing that I had heard once. Other people's opinion of you are none of your business.
Right. It's not.
It's hard to swallow right away, but it all makes sense.
And that's why I said that thick skin, because in the beginning, God, it could have broke me. And I'm a very confident human. So I think about the people that maybe suffer with not being confident or not believing in themselves. And that could break someone.
It could.
Those keyboard warriors out there. It's not.
Yeah, hiding behind a screen.
And fake Instagram accounts.
Right. Oh, yes. The fake reviews from someone disgruntled. Oh, yes. We've all had them.
It's so fun.
Number 3, what piece of advice would you give to someone just starting a business?
Don't be hard on yourself. It does not happen overnight. Regardless of what you see on Instagram, it does not happen overnight. It just takes time. Don't put yourself in this spot where you're giving yourself 6 months to be successful or it's not going to work. I mean, I'm, 12 years in.
12 years in, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great piece of advice. So, Stephanie, if our listeners want to get a hold of you or want to shop your store, tell them how they do that.
So please follow us on Instagram. You'll get all the things, good, bad, ugly, all the things. Maverick _ the collection on Instagram. We're on Facebook also, Maverick the Collection by Stephanie Jonas. Our website's maverickthecollection.com. And you can come see our new store at the Shops at Vanderbilt. We're right across from Flacco's, Unit 814.
Fabulous. Yay. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you.
And thank you, my friends, for joining me today and every week here on The Fashionista Life, brought to you by True Fashionistas. If you want a deeper dive, head to my website, thefashionistalife.com, to sign up for my weekly newsletter where we take a deeper dive each week into a new topic. Have a fabulous day.